There is a car bearing the MG badge that started its journey as X-Motion concept. The company said the X in the name stood for endless possibilities. By the time it was launched, and as you know it now, the name changed to HS. The model was created as an example of everything MG wanted to excel in. Endless possibilities in a sport utility vehicle.
The MG HS not only looks premium, but it underlines the comfort in the cabin. It's got dual zone air conditioning and rear AC vents. But what's special is that it's got a health air system, which has a vent here.
A high tensile steel cage, side and curtain airbags, and a lot of electronic assistance features like blind spot detection, lane change assist. Well, it has a Euro NCAP 5-star safety rating. MG uses some excellent quality material and especially with a lot of style. Now look at this. It's brushed aluminum finish, very well done, nicely done. Now 85% of the surfaces in this cabin is leather. It's got racing style bucket seats, which explains why most of the seating across the SUV range of MG is comfortable. For the HS, MG has chosen a 2-liter turbocharged engine mated to a 6-speed dual-clutch transmission. There is a Super Sport button on the steering wheel that is useful to dial in the full torque available, just in case you want to overtake that supercar bothering you. MG HS is not a perfect car, but what makes it special is that it's a symbol, an aspirational symbol to make quality affordable. There are 3 things that help MG set a benchmark. 1, the British legacy. Now that can be best seen in the design, the minimalistic approach that they have. The second thing is the manufacturing in China. Now that helps make technology really affordable. The third thing is the MG's confidence in their products. Now that can be best seen in the warranty they offer. 6 years or 200,000 kilometers. That's amazing. So how does the other models in the MG SUV range live up to the HS, the high standards of MG? Well, let's find out in this journey. And in the meanwhile, if you want any of these models to be reviewed in detail, please mark that in the comment section. I'll come back to you very soon with a full detailed review. This is the MG ZS, the smallest of the SUV range. I would say it's spaciously compact. Now, it takes a lot of design cues from the HS. In fact, the HS is 26 centimeters bigger, but MG has loaded this car with all its aspirations, and definitely there's space for that. Look at the grille and the lamps, for instance. Those intense eyes. MG calls it London Eye. Why? Because it was designed in London. Others would call this grille design a honey hive grille, but MG calls it Star Rider grille. There's a reason. These sparkling metallic nodes in between, they say, remind you of stars. In the rear too, the lamps and the turn-in design, it's got something very European about it. And there's something very clever about where MG has placed its tailgate lock. Yes, we'll come back to it. Inside too, the ZS takes after the HS. The seats are either fabric or leather-like. Look at the dual tone, the soft touch materials, and just a bit of plastic. Good plastic. The multifunction steering design, the 8-inch multimedia touchscreen with split design, and the propeller air vents. MG is making all these their calling card. The MG ZS has a 5-star rating from China's new car assessment program. Front and side airbags, a camera with guidelines that even shows you the distance to the wall behind. The picture is wide and crisp in daylight, but in dim light it could be sharper. The space management of MG is another astonishing talent, especially in the boot. Oh, by the way, did you guess where the lock is? Well, it's concealed right here. Look how deeper than expected the boot goes. That is the difference between two medium suitcases and two large ones. The MG ZS is steady and composed, and so is the power flow once the car gets going. Now that's because this 1258 kilogram car has 112 HP and 150 Newton meters of torque. Even though it's a compact SUV, it's got that SUV stance, that elevated stance, but the mirrors help you keep an eye on the passing vehicles without a blind spot. And now it's time to check the mid-size SUV from MG, the RX5. You ask anyone who's going for an SUV why, and chances are you'll hear probably one of three answers: size, space, and stance. Well, there is one model in the SUV range of MG that answers to all three. That is the MG RX5. So yes, this is an all-wheel drive with a differential lock. But is there any power to justify it? Oh yes. So how does 350 Newton meters sound? Oh, by the way, the MG RX5 comes with two engines. The other one is a 1.5 liter turbo, and that too is no second-class citizen. It's a good size, isn't it? I mean, quite nicely shaped as well. And the design is quite underplayed. It's more of that European nature. In fact, it reminds you of a German, doesn't it? Inside too, more of the European taste. 80% of the interior is soft to the touch and feature real stitching on the dash and the door sides. There is an 8-inch multicolor touchscreen here, but the AC controls might feel a bit dated and old. But hey, it's quite straight and simple. You have electric folding mirrors, keyless entry and start, smartphone link, and the electric tailgate can be operated from here. Thoughtful. Another great expectation from an SUV is safety. The RX5 uses ultra high strength steel cage and comes with 6 airbags. Well, the S words are not over yet. S for storage, S for sunroof, S for stretch. 595 liters, not bad, a few suitcases there. So in here is a spare tire. So let's check it out. What's that? That's quite thoughtful. You have all these boxes where you can, you can throw in stuff. And further down is the spare tire. Surprise, huh? But the real surprise, believe me, is going to be the price. And that's something we need to get used to with MG. Great space for 5 people, huh? But what if there are 7? What then? Now that brings us to the flagship model of the SUV range. The large, capable, comfortable 7-seater, the MG RX8. Looks the part. Now let's find out if it plays the part. The flagship of MG is definitely noticeable. The bold stance, the upright grille, the very distinctive European styling, and 20-inch alloy wheels. The MG RX8 is driven by a 2-liter turbocharged engine, which is good for 220 horsepower and 360 Newton meters of torque. Good enough to get this car from 0 to 100 in just over 9 seconds. Something else that MG has perfected along its range is the comfort that its seat technology offers. The way it is shaped, the way it cuddles you, it's all rather comfortable. It's got air conditioning, which is 3-zone. You have the dual zone air conditioning in front and then an independent setting in the rear. But there's more to the air we breathe than just the air conditioning. So it has a cleaning system, a purifier inside, which, like, for example, right now it shows air quality index good. Purity, sanitization makes a lot of sense in these times. Another interesting feature, useful feature, is 4D AVM. So while you're driving, if you call in the camera that's associated with it, it's a fisheye view, and you can pretty much see what's behind you and on the sides. Now, if you're looking for that dial that you find in reasonably capable SUVs, yes, the RX8 has it. So you can choose among auto, sport, off-road, snow, 4L, 2H, capable. In this full option Lux version, the RX8 cost less than 100,000 dirhams. Of course, before VAT. So that completes the entire range of SUVs that we were supposed to meet. Oh, wait, there's one more. We started our journey with the HS, which was a very different car. The last car for the day is another special and different one. Again, representative of MG's ideals and ambitions, but for the future. Looks like the MG ZS compact crossover, doesn't it? But there's more to it. This is the MG ZS EV, the electric vehicle in the MG range. Now, most of the manufacturers create electric vehicles as a separate thing altogether as their interpretation of the future. What MG has done it, they've taken an established model, their ZS, and converted it into an EV, telling us that electric cars are nothing but familiar stuff with a different power source. Everything about it is exactly the same as a ZS. The only difference is it is 1 inch taller and 202 kilograms heavier. Well, design-wise, the ZS was a good-looking car, is a good-looking car. And on the sides, it gets its own windmill design alloy wheels. Windmill, energy, electricity, get it? Design elements inside are pretty similar to the ZS and other MG models, but the console, the dash and the instrument panels are quite different. What stands out here is the rotary gear selector on the bridge console. The ZS Electric does have a lot of electronic assistance features. EVs are known for instant power. 147.5 horsepower and 350 Newton meters of torque. That is huge and good enough to take this car from 0 to 50 kilometers per hour in 3.1 seconds and 0 to 100 in 8.2. Everything in this car is programmed to save energy. When you're not accelerating, or rather when you leave the foot off the accelerator, you can actually feel the braking kick in, and that converts the energy into electrical and stores it. So when I started out, it predicted a range of around 230 kilometers. In fact, the WLTP approved range is 263, so which is very close to what was showing. Very dependable. So this end of the cable goes in here, and this goes into any normal charging point. So you say goodnight to the car and good morning to a fully charged car in just 7.5 hours. This is perhaps the first car to make an EV available under 100,000, 107,000 including VAT. And that makes the MG ZS EV a promise fulfilled of bringing an electric vehicle within the reach of a bold and forward-thinking mind.